And we're live. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Shifting Lanes. My name is Hanson. Thank you so much for tuning in. And for this live stream, I have a very special guest with me right now. These are the Supra Mark V guys. So if you have any questions about the Supra, these guys have been tracking this car for a very long time. I have Guff and I have Zane, and we're going to talk about the new Supra. We're going to talk about all the different things you may not know about and all the different features that's in this car. So I'm going to turn this camera around and I'm going to focus on these guys, and we're going to have a conversation about what this car is all about. Now, first, let's talk about the pricing. All right, let's talk about the pricing because that's what everyone wants to know. Yeah. 3 trims, 3.0, $49,990. What's the next trim?
Next trim's a premium.
The premium.
That's like
53,000. I'm questioning you guys now. I'm quizzing you guys. Like, all right, 53,990,
yes.
And then we've got the launch edition, which is 55,250. Okay, so if you guys want to see what the launch edition looks like, it's over there, and you can see that it's got the red mirror caps, the black wheels, and the signature Akio Toyota. That's right. And what do you guys think about the red mirrors?
Yeah.
They alright?
Here, you're looking at it, right? And you're looking in this angle. You can see the red seats, right? It just flows.
It just flows.
Okay, I see it. But any
Yeah.
other angle, and also, it's no good.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
All right.
It's cool, but like some people get it, maybe not me. It is a lighter red than
Yeah. And it's got like the red seats and the
The
So
interior I really love the red seat. I've always been a big fan of it. Yeah, it's like a darker red too.
Yeah.
So actually,
and speaking of the interior, we're gonna sit inside the car in a couple of minutes. But first, let's talk about the exterior of the car. So lots of influences from the predecessors here. First of all, the 1967 2000 GT, right? Now, like from this perspective, again, it looks like the 1967. You've got the double bubble, you've got the super long hood. What do you guys think about this exterior, man?
honestly, like I think they hit it out of the park.
Yeah.
I know it's polarized, and like I think that's indicative of a good design because it's something that speaks to people and like either gets them on one side or the other. It looks different. Like look at all the other cars here. It looks very different. It's very distinctive. It's very striking. And so it's striking enough that those who are not familiar with this car are like, oh, what's that? I want to know more about that.
Yeah.
Like we're getting linked like crazy by people who don't know anything about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I think it's important for Toyota too because Toyota, I mean, like, although their current design is actually great in my opinion across the range, like this car, people look at it and be like, oh my god, what exotic car is that?
Yeah.
And then they'll see.
Oh, it's a Toyota. Yeah. Now you guys operate the Supra Mark V forums, and if you guys haven't checked that out, it's going to be linked down below later. But yeah, these are the 2 guys that run that site, and they've been hammered for the past couple of days, actually the past couple of months, just because we've seen a slow trickle of the Supra info. Now, tell us something that maybe everyone else may not know about this thing. Now, there's a rumor that this was co-developed by BMW. Is that true? Is that a rumor? Is that?
Who said that? Definitely. It is co-developed with BMW, which is a really crazy idea to a lot of people. But I guess, I mean, a lot of people seem to have the idea that this is a Z4 with a different body, and like that couldn't be further from the truth because in reality, the Z4 wouldn't exist as it is today, the new Z4, without Toyota, because the Z4 was never going to happen.
That's true.
Toyota came to BMW and said, let's form a partnership, and part of that partnership, it wasn't just the only thing, but part of that partnership was let's build a sports car. And BMW was like, what could we make?
Yeah.
And of course, the idea in Akio's mind was always Supra. And eventually, the rest of Toyota kind of got on board with that too.
Yeah.
I mean, Akio's been looking for a little brother and a big brother for the 8.6.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so,
And BMW just happens to be a maker of a 8.6.
Yeah.
that's right.
Right?
Yeah, and this is basically a marriage made in heaven because BMWs love inline sixes, Toyota Supra is always an inline six. It's like, this is perfect. And this type of collaboration isn't the same like Toyota and Subaru because, you know, in there they try to maximize the sharing of common parts, right? As a result, you get like an identical car. In this case, I can't tell that this is a Z4 from the exterior shell, right? I mean, just like look at the shape of it. This is completely unique. This looks like the FT1 concept. And yeah.
I mean, like this nose, I don't know if people are talking about this collab, like that's very reminiscent of that FT1.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a design element directly
that's
from
one thing that really struck me.
Right.
And also, like, okay, this headlight shape, right? The Mark IV headlight shape.
Yeah, kind of similar in that kind of like big
kind of like
eye headlight.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah.
And then obviously the FT1 had this whole design with this big LED DRLs that kind of cut in.
Sure,
and stuff.
yeah.
And so yeah, the design definitely takes a lot from that FT1.
Right.
Of course, which was the concept, I guess, for this car. It wasn't really when it was designed.
Yeah.
It was just a concept that Calty made.
Right.
But in Akia's head, it was always like,
It's like,
this is
yes,
it. That's what it
this is it.
now,
Right.
putting a concept like FT1 out in the mass market,
It's not really.
it's not really the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Of course.
And so
No.
people need to understand that concept cars.
Exactly. You need to make it producible. Yeah. Yeah. Production cars actually do need side view mirrors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not little cameras.
Now, actually speaking of side view mirrors, I'm kind of disappointed because the side view mirrors aren't mounted on the fenders like the 2000 GT. It should be.
Yeah.
It should be, right?
There's probably pedestrian safety things. But
It would be so cool though.
it would be.
Yeah. So let's move around the side because the FT1 concept, this brake ducting is gigantic.
Yes.
But in this case, it's got on a diet a little bit. It's pushed in and
It's fake.
it's disappointing.
It's fake.
But
It's fake.
yeah.
Like,
But
I mean,
let's ignore that. Let's
Sure.
ignore that
Yeah,
and
yeah,
continue on to the backside because yeah.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
this is the most beautiful part of this car,
100%.
right?
The fact that this goes from this vertical face to this almost horizontal face coming out back down, like this is it's so purposefully rear drive. You know, like this is unmistakably a rear drive car.
Correct.
Because of the width of this, and like
Yeah.
it just is a design that just shouts sports.
Yeah.
And so I think this is seriously this whole rear end of the car.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of the best things.
Now, I just got a comment, and someone said, didn't Tada say that those vents could be opened up?
He said some of the vents. He said the vents. You can open the vents if you want to. Now I don't know if he was just being cheeky or what.
Yeah.
But, like if you look at the race car, the GR race car.
GR race car
sitting
is
over
back
at
there.
the far end, you'll actually notice
In the
that
back.
it has the same vents, not the side vent though, but the front and rear vents are actually open on that car.
Okay.
What their function is, I'm not totally sure. But
Yeah.
like, presumably these could be used for some sort of brake.
Sure. Brake cooling. Yeah.
Exactly, something like that. These though, these will never be real. I'm sorry to say,
Yeah.
these will never be real because it's just physically not.
Let's take a look at,
Yep.
where that's going to lead, and it leads to sheet metal.
Yep, at least
So-
sheet metal, and then on
Yeah.
the other side you have the
And
quarter
there's,
panel.
right.
And
Now
it's
you
just-
could punch a hole right here.
Look, man, get a drill and you can make anything function.
Yes.
Yours, right?
Make it yours.
Exactly right.
So, how long do you think before we see a wide body on this thing? Because,
Honestly, yeah, I mean, it's got to be so.
Yeah.
It's still the craze. Still people are,
Yeah.
they like the rocket things.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So a car to make people want to make it their own, kind of like revitalize that. I will personalize it. I will go with a wide body.
Yeah, exactly.
Like before the 86, we were using that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
we're using that that plus floor personalization, that aftermarket.
And,
Right.
and then when you have a guy like Kata-san saying that he is, what he was saying was that like there's places that's open for like like leave these things open like we want you to do it. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's encouragement.
Yeah, he even mentioned in an interview that the engine bay will fit a V8.
yeah.
And and other engine types. And this it's like, sure, that could be for racing and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
like, if you want to swap the car by all means.
Yeah.
When you have a chief engineer who says about that, you know that that's an engineer who understands.
Yeah, because he is a car enthusiast.
Right.
And that's it.
Now, you guys are talking about swaps, and I have to mention something. The 8-speed automatic transmission, the ZF unit, I think is like one of the best automatic transmissions today. It shifts very quickly. It's not as fast as a dual clutch transmission, but it's super fast, and it's in everything. And after talking with the ZF engineers, they basically said, hey, listen, this is a highly modular transmission. We could swap out the torque converter with a hybrid motor and make it into a hybrid setup. So potentially, could there be a hybrid Supra or an all-wheel drive Supra at that
Right,
time?
and absolutely there could. And when you think about it, you're like, okay, if Tata had the option, or the team, Tata and the team had the option of putting this torque converter automatic in versus putting a dual clutch in. But the torque converter had the modularity and the ability to become a hybrid in the future. Don't you think that's what you would do?
Right.
If that was the case, if that's what
true.
we were thinking of in the future.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that that is the case. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if this car's going to go hybrid. What is it going to be hybrid?
That's true. That's true.
This is the last purely petrol-powered car that they will be making.
Yeah.
Everything going forward, being in the development, will have hybrid.
Yeah, and that's a really good point because people really have to appreciate just how difficult it is to make these cars. The business case for a sports car it's really tough. So that's why companies like Toyota, a massive company like Toyota, has to collaborate with other manufacturers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
7 years in the making. 7
Yeah.
years. This wasn't just a thing that Toyota
Right.
was like, here's a check, BMW,
Right.
here's your C4. It was 7 years of very painstaking
And
work.
honestly, like, speaking of here's a check, one of the things that Jonathan did mention was that when they first started talking about developing the 2012, right?
2012, yeah.
One of the things he was so shocked and surprised about was like, what's the fuck? They seem to have like this endless pit of like they were not being stagnated by it.
Right, absolutely.
Right.
And there obviously they obviously look to, I guess, make it as cost efficient as possible in terms of like, seeing what BMW can provide, what Toyota can provide, and what the best route for creating this car was.
So that's like, they were like, Toyota was surprised in that aspect in the development phase. But then when it got to the point to where they were shipping back literally thousands of parts back to Japan, get down to their bolts and rivets and just doing the
full analysis. Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. And
that's when the BMW engineers were like,
they're like, oh,
all right, that's cool.
That's pretty serious
so, like,
stuff.
It's like learning from both sides.
Absolutely.
Right. And like what was the level of collaboration like always cooperative?
Definitely not. And so, okay, I guess there's a story I can tell. And so, this isn't a super public story, but Thompson has mentioned it in an interview. But basically,
hold on one second.
This is an important story, guys. You need to pay attention to this thing, okay? Again, this is the supermark5.com source. This is the largest super enthusiast website forum in existence. So, if these guys are full of it, it's
The pressure. Continue.
Okay, so this is how it went. Basically, Toyota and BMW had a meeting, right? And they were like, you bring your cars, we'll bring our sports cars, right? Sports cars. And let's see what we got. You know, like let's see what your sports cars are like, what our sports cars are like. And so Tata and the team were like, okay, perfect. So they took their cars to Germany. And so namely the 860, the main sports car they have. Actually some of the other cars as well. And they went to Germany to one of BMW's testing facilities and met BMW there. And it was raining. Proper pouring rain. And, you know, all the Toyota guys are like, it's pretty wet out.
Yeah.
Come inside to your facility. And the BMW guys are like, no, you can't come inside. And they're like, it's raining, you know? And they're like, no, you guys are going to steal our development secrets.
Wow.
And it's just like, what? Okay. So they stood under a little canopy while everyone was testing these cars on this whatever course they had. And, you know, of course, Tata and the guys are very respectful. So I'm not saying the BMW guys aren't respectful, but, you know, that was their mindset. That was their mindset. And so Tata and the guys, you know, they drove all of these, M cars, T-Series, cars. They're like, wow, okay, your cars are great. You see why you guys been making sports cars a long time.
Yeah.
This is good. This is good. This is good. You know, we could probably we would do things differently here.
Yeah.
And then they drove
Uh-huh.
The Toyota cars. Then they drove the 86 and they're like, "It's pretty good." And that was it. And then Tyler and the guys were like, "Okay, cool. We'll meet up again." And that was it. That was kind of how the first meeting was.
Yeah.
And then it really was a struggle. It was kind of like a fight from there until Toyota actually, one of the GR guys, Japanese gentleman who was, I believe, born in Germany, speaks fluent German and understands the German culture, which was the biggest thing. Joined up with your team and then became essentially the liaison between the two teams. And he got along really well with the BMW guys. And because of that single guy, things kind of started happening again. And then they started to understand each other.
Yeah.
And it was like something as simple as that almost could have destroyed this entire partnership.
Wow.
And it's just a difference in cultures,
Yeah.
Difference of ideologies and stuff. But then eventually from there, things started.
Yeah. And that's really interesting to note because the previous collaboration between Toyota and that was with Subaru, that was with very similar cultures. They're both Japanese companies. It was easy to kind of collaborate on things. So this was a really tough hurdle that they kind of had to go through.
And there was still a lot of challenges even with the cultures that were.
Even with Subaru, even with Subaru,
Yeah.
still said, he said that collaboration gave me great hair. So and you can do that too.
Yeah.
But they came through.
Yeah.
There's so much learning that is gained from these major companies working together. Because I think the worst thing is for any organization, people, literally, to become complacent, right?
Right.
And not to say that anything would become complacent, but it naturally tends to head in that direction. If you're not given a new perspective or new thoughts on something that you always thought was a certain way. For example, the positioning of the motor itself. They never thought that it could be lowered as much as it was deemed possible.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But they did it to lower the center of gravity of the vehicle. That was something that Toyota was talking to BMW, they made it happen, right?
Yeah.
So this car has a lower center of gravity than the 86.
Yes.
Which has a boxer engine.
That is crazy to think about. Yeah.
So, and obviously, it's not a ton lower. Let's
Right.
Be honest, but the fact that it's for a straight six, an
Yeah.
engine which stands up, not granted,
Right.
it's flat six, but still.
Yeah.
Again, it's just like stuff like this. Like everyone brings in their own kind of flavor, their perspective. And
Yeah.
like, everyone learns from it, and everyone learns from it. And so that's
Yeah.
kind of the biggest telling thing of this car.
The world
So-
is a lot smaller than we will make it out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When these things happen, that's what it is. The world getting bigger, but getting smaller at the same time.
So we're getting some questions, and I'm sorry about the questions, guys. I've been, talking all of these like little stories and everything, but someone did ask, and we'll get back to the exterior of this car. Is will there be a T-top version?
I have no idea.
There's an easy joke brewing in my head right now, but yeah, let's not talk about it. But is there?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
I guess no one's mentioned it. I mean, I feel like they've been busy enough just making the game.
Right, yeah.
So not that I know.
And
Punch it out. Yeah, Sawzall, and you can do anything. Like I said.
it seems like the Sawzall is part of your tool library. Yeah. But let's get back to the exterior because earlier we talked about the design influences, the 1967 2000 GT, but this was also based off of the legendary Mark IV Supra, 2JZ GTE, the A80, the Mark IV, whatever you want to call it. So from this perspective, I can kind of see that tall rear wing here, right?
That integrated kind of duckbill, as
Yeah.
well as that wide hip.
Yeah.
That the A80 also has.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, and like I think this is probably the most telling thing. Like this is only here because the A80 had it.
Yeah.
As far as the design feature goes, it's very exaggerated.
Yes.
The A80 is really good just to be swooped up.
Right.
Because it also had the big wing.
Right, that's true. I mean, this is not really giving you more cubic capacity either, right? Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is really silencing, but at
Yeah.
the same time,
People compare this to the old Z4, things like that, but this
Ah, that's true.
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And looking at this rear end, it's got that similar shape as the Mark IV Supra.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it just looks fantastic from here. And
That
Yeah.
big wide piece that kind of.
right. Yeah.
It's
what
beautiful. And
and
so
it sort of looks like the LC 500 as well here.
right,
You know,
actually,
like
with
there's
the,
some
with
elements
the
of
center
that.
badge and all that
Yeah.
stuff too. It
Now-
does.
The size.
And
Now-
the little teardrop things. on
For,
the side.
for the keen viewers out there, they might have noticed that the Supra logo looks a little bit different,
Yes, absolutely
right?
it is. It's a little bit simplistic compared to the other one. And it's a little squished out.
Yeah.
It's a little
Switch down.
squished.
So
And
it's
then
faster.
If you notice, like, it's faster.
Yeah, it's a little
Yes,
faster. That's exactly
and then
right.
you'll notice more symmetry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Which
yes,
And-
I actually really appreciate this because it obviously harkens back to the Mark IV.
Right.
But it's fresh, it's new, it's modern enough. And
Yeah.
this could have been Helvetica.
yeah. At least it's not
This
papyrus.
is the Supra font, and I want to write everything with the Supra font.
Yes,
and it is good to note that this is basically a roadway. This is like a DS's.
Yep, absolutely,
So
absolutely.
it's
Yes,
someone out there make a course based off of the Supra logo, please. Yeah.
Maybe,
And
yeah.
and the-
maybe an autocross. Autocross is expensive to lay asphalt on.
and the rest of the Supra rear end, first we see this GR logo here. So what does GR stand for?
So GR is Gazoo Racing.
Gazoo Racing.
So it's Toyota's in-house, essentially a racing tuning company. Actually started as a bit of a skunk works. Akio Toyota just was like, hey, me and my friends are gonna make racing. And then eventually became more and more legitimate as they started, making better cars, winning races and stuff.
Right.
Until now, this is really the first GR developed car. This was developed by Gazoo Racing.
Wow.
Technically not developed by Toyota. And so technically it's still Toyota, but this is the first Gazoo Racing car. And that's why we see the badge here.
Yes.
Whereas, I mean, no one in America is going to know what that means.
Right.
Nor do they care.
It stands for Great Ride.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And GRMN, which is Gazoo Racing Meisters of the Nürburgring, which is what they call their extra fast model. Hansen seems to think it stands for German.
Well, I want to ask all the viewers out there what they think, how they should pronounce GRMN.
Yeah.
So put it down in the comments in the phonetic spelling. Gremmen or German? Yeah.
GRMN. Anyways, we won't see
Yeah.
that.
Well, with that said, we've been standing around the outside long enough. How about we jump in to the
let's do that.
all-new 2020 Toyota Supra? So why don't you guys get on the driver's side, the both of you, try to fit in. Right? So I'll get in on this side.
yeah.
And then first, let's take a look here, just like how spacious this really is. This is just a two-seater, and even with the doors open, this thing looks fantastic. And I just want to say one more design cue. This rear quarter glass, this looks like the 2000 GT. Again, another design that's been brought over. And here you can see the double bubble roof. And what people have said is that I should really be careful when I step inside this car because I may hit my head. So, it is comfy. I missed it. I missed
barely
it.
missed it. Yeah,
So-
you catch your head right here.
Yeah.
Catch your head right here.
So this is my first time in the Toyota Supra, and I could say that this is
First thing you
real.
notice is probably how low your butt is, right?
Yes,
And
my
so-
butt is low.
Very similar
and,
to the 8.6 BRZ FRS, right?
Correct,
As
yeah.
far as seating position goes.
Right, and the double bubble here. This is really spacious, and like if you, I am 5'8". How tall are you?
I'm 5'11".
5'11",
Yeah.
and you could fit a helmet in there.
Easily fit a helmet.
It'll be
and, like,
snug.
Yeah,
It'll be snug,
I
but-
think this will handle the 6-footers just fine.
Yeah. So, all right, this is the first time that we're getting a look at the interior, and quick quiz for you guys. What does this remind you of? So it's not really a quiz. I'm asking you guys, what does it look like? This looks familiar.
Yeah.
All of these look familiar.
Yeah.
This looks like the iDrive, right? Is there an iDrive in here?
Yes, it is.
Ah, wow. So
it is a
they
reskinned iDrive.
they use the same fonts. They didn't use the Supra font that's
No,
found
they did
in the
not.
back. But
Now this knob is different from the Z4.
It is. This is different from the BMW knob, but because it's the ZF 8-speed,
It's still
Yeah.
gonna
I mean,
have a
they all
similar
kind of look the same.
styling.
that's
to be
true.
perfectly
That's
honest.
true. But around that you see all of this carbon fiber.
the
It
carbon.
looks really beautiful.
Carbon looks really good.
I really like this because it reminds me of the i8 actually, of like how everything's kind of the BMW i8.
Sure, yeah.
Just it's very clean. It's very aesthetically pleasing because it just kind of disappears into the rest of the dash.
Yeah.
And of course you've got this like iPad like wart here.
Yeah.
This apparently is the older unit. from the older BMW
That's
unit,
right.
and the Z4 is going to get the newer one.
Right, and that's why it has the bigger screen and all that stuff.
Yeah, and let's take a look at the gauge cluster itself, and it's all digital, and it looks like the tachometer, it's persistent maybe.
Yeah, it's just a
the
I don't want to say
numbering,
mechanical,
yeah.
but it's just like a plastic piece.
Yeah.
Right.
And the tach is just a solid physical piece.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's just a big screen behind it, and then the actual needle is electronic
Right.
or digital.
And the steering wheel, the buttons, again, these are all
This is
very
really
similar.
smooth.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. It's just open. Yeah, so as you can, so the steering wheel itself is not actually a BMW unit. But I would rather have had a BMW unit, if I'm being totally honest, because BMW makes some nice steering wheels.
Yeah.
This looks
True.
a bit like a Avalon steering wheel,
Yeah.
which, I mean, if you wanted a Toyota,
Yeah.
you got it.
Now, does this sitting in here, in your guys' opinion, does it feel like sitting in a Toyota?
Okay, so for what it's worth, so this kind of whole design with this big line that runs through, it's kind of very Lexus in terms of how it's designed. And then no, Lexus does do the kind of very simple radio control and stuff like that. But then you see stuff like this, you see stuff like the iDrive controller and all the buttons. It's very BMW.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. It's kind of a mishmash between BMW and like Toyota Lexus.
Agreed.
Which,
I'll
I
say
guess that's
that-
what the car is, right?
Yeah,
So-
I feel
Yeah.
like the general feel of it is a lot rougher or like not as
Yeah, material
soft
material quality is not that great.
Right, because this reminds me of a basketball. I kind of want to play ball right now.
Right, absolutely.
And,
And, like, I'll go so far as to say is I think I prefer the BRZ FRS dash,
It's
both in terms of
interesting.
design
Okay.
and everything to this.
Okay. Actually, so all right, switching gears here.
Sure.
We actually haven't talked about probably the most important thing about this car.
Yeah.
And that is the performance numbers.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So, 3-liter inline 6 twin scroll turbocharger, making 335 horsepower
Yep.
and 365 pound-feet of torque.
Yep.
Now that is less power than the BMW Z4,
Yes,
right?
it is.
The BMW Z4 is making 382 horsepower and 369 pound-feet
Yes,
of torque.
it is.
I have memorized the
Yeah, yeah,
numbers.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And now, before the announcement of the Toyota Supra, first of all, Toyota said that this is going to go from 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds.
Right.
And if you've been following the news, you know that the BMW Z4 goes from 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. But apparently it got quicker over just last night.
Just last night.
By the way, this is developing news right now. So
Yeah.
this is the start of something between BMW and Toyota.
I don't want to say, I don't want to go that far.
Right?
but yeah.
I mean, hey, it's something, right? I mean,
something.
how does your car get faster just on paper?
And I think what that is perhaps the European Z4 has the exhaust particulate filter, which limits the horsepower apparently to 340 PS or whatever it may be, which is probably the same as the Supra. And I guess because it's a little heavier, maybe that's where the 44 number came in. And I think perhaps the 39 number is with the 300 full fat 382 that the Americans will get. And so that's my theory, at least. I don't know why BMW decided to release that information in the way that they did, but they did.
Yeah.
And so it is what it is. But I guess what that does mean is that, A, the B58 is more than capable of making 382 horsepower, if not much more, as can be seen by the people tuning 340s and 440s and 240s. But the Supra does 4.1 to 60 with 335 horsepower.
Yeah.
That's kind of
That
fast considering the specs, right?
Yeah. Oh,
And
absolutely.
so
The numbers didn't make sense initially.
the numbers don't
right?
make sense. And so I wonder what the car will weigh in on a scale. And the number everyone's quoting is 3397, I believe it is.
Right.
Just under 3,400
Under
pounds.
3,400 pounds.
And that's not light.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly, I guess kind of light compared to cars these days, like the M2
Yeah.
competition and stuff. It's not a light car. The Z4 weighs roughly 50 pounds more.
Yeah.
Not too much more. But I do know that there were prototypes of this car that weighed in at 2960, 2980.
See, that makes more sense because,
Yeah.
like, there's a BRZ on our channel, and the BRZ weighs in at 2,800 pounds, right? This is roughly, I'd say, smaller than the BRZ.
Certainly in cabin
Right?
space as far as the
Yeah,
EMS and stuff.
and this just means that this is a much more dense car than the BRZ,
Right.
and it's like
no seats in the back.
There are
I
no
know,
seats?
I know that the BRZ seats in the back don't fully qualify as seats, but still, it is more.
Yeah, so dense. I mean, which explains why you can create a car that's more rigid than an LFA, which is a carbon-bodied, carbon monocoque car with a steel body. And like honestly, if you open the trunk and stuff, you'll just see how much metal there actually is.
Sure.
That being said, I do know that the base 4-cylinder in Japan weighs in at 1410 kilograms.
Wow. Okay.
Which
so
is,
that's about under 3,000.
3,100 pounds.
Okay.
So what makes up the 300 pound difference between this car and the base Japanese car? I'm not sure, but it probably has to do with these automatic memory seats, all the safety gear that we get, which of course, something wrong with safety. But at the same time, I think people will be able to make this car lighter.
Okay.
As well as faster considering the motor.
So that's a great segue, and we should probably wrap this up soon because other people are really eyeing us and wondering when we're going to get out of here. But I think the last point that I want to talk to you guys about is the community of the Supra community and just how in love they are with the 2JZ and the legendary Mark IV Supra. Now, you know, what's your opinion? Like, when are people going to rip out the inline 3 for a 2JZ GTE?
Sure, yeah.
And like, what do you guys think about that?
It's gonna happen, no doubt, and there's nothing wrong with that, of course. That being said, like anyone who's worked on modern cars like these have pretty complex CAN bus-based electronic systems as far as body control, engine control functions. Putting an older motor in a car like this is not easy. People will do it. You'll have tons of lights on the dash, no ABS, no traction control, no stability control, etc., etc. But that's fine. In my opinion, I don't actually feel the need to put a 2JZ in this car. And like, I have owned a ton of Supras. I have a 2JZ it's sitting in my garage just waiting for a project, you know? But the thing is, the 2JZ is old tech. And I don't say that in a demeaning way. It just is. It's an old iron block motor. Honestly, the heads don't flow very well, stuff like that. And it took the Supra community nigh on 15 years even to accept the VVTi version of the 2JZ, right? So it's not surprising to me that people see this motor, especially since it's a BMW motor, it's foreign to them, and like there's reliability concerns, etc., and say, that's stupid, just put a 2JZ in. Why didn't the car ship a 2JZ? But like, if you think about it, obviously that's not realistic. You know,
it's like, you know, the 2JZ, we always know that is going to be in the Hall of Fame. So let it rest in that, you know, like that legendary status. Like, let's leave these guys alone and let them come to like fruition and like full potential.
And so, if I were to make a comparison, I mean, when the R35 came out, everyone was like, oh, it doesn't have an RB, right? It doesn't have a straight 6. They complain about it. They're like, it has a V6. It's basically got fat 370Z or 250Z or whatever. But the VR38 now is such an amazing motor. It has so much potential. People making 4-figure horsepower all day long, and GTRs run the streets now. You know? And that's the thing. Initially, people didn't accept it, right? But once people started figuring out what the good things were, what the bad things were, fixing those bad things, and progressing from there, now the GTR is, you know, really the king as far as like Japanese import cars, you know, and speed. You know what?
I know I said that was going to be the last point, but there's one more important point because other people have mentioned this. Like, this starts at $50,000 basically, and people have made the comparison. Why don't I just buy a Nismo 370Z? Because that's also a 6-cylinder, rear-wheel drive, 2 seats. But you know what? This is a much better car than the 370Z. This has a really nice, and my favorite part about this car, and no one really talks about this, is the limited slip differential in the back. It has active differential. Now that is the best type of differential because you can have a torque split 0 to 100 under acceleration or braking. So whereas the Nismo 370Z, that is a viscous type LSD. And after the second lap, that is basically an open differential. So, and also this is an inline 6. You know, this is the smoothest type of 6-cylinder.
It is.
And this is the better car.
Now I will say, before getting either one, right? Before getting any car, drive it.
Drive it.
Drive it.
Drive it.
If you like the 370, go get it.
Go buy it.
Right? We're not gonna, no one's gonna stop you.
Absolutely.
If you drive this and you like it, okay, cool. You got the 50 to drop down, do it, right? I mean, that's the beauty of it. What I would hate is for people to look at numbers, look at pictures, watch reviews like about a bunch of guys who don't know anything say stuff, right? Us, right? But and then
us too.
right? And then just decide based on that. You need to experience it. That's what driving is. That's what a car is for. I mean, yes, it's to get you to where you need to go, but drive it.
Yeah.
Please don't just ride it.
So I think that's a good point. Just drive the car. Go to the dealerships and test drive this if you can.
Whenever it's out.
Whenever it's out. But I think that's a good point to end on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Are you still watching? This is like a really long live stream, and I really appreciate your attention. These guys are the Supra Mark V guys. That's Guff. That's Zane. You can find them.
Oh yeah.
They're
Albonfilms
Albonfilms,
too.
so I'll link their channel down below as well. But check out supramark5.com. You might have seen all of the spy shots and all of the renders. It has Supra Mark V on it. That's these guys. So I want to thank them again for joining me and giving me this very in-depth look into the Supra, because this is, again, like from the enthusiast perspective. So it's like, you know, you're not getting the marketing from Toyota, you're getting the honest opinion from all the enthusiasts out there. So again, I want to thank you guys for joining me. My name is Hanson. You can check out all of our project cars down below. I really want to thank you guys for watching all the way till the end. If you like this video, if you learned something, hopefully you guys did, because there's some valuable information here, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and giving us a subscribe, and also hit that notification bell down below. Thank you guys again. My name is Hanson. These are the Supra Mark V guys, Guff and Zane, and this has been the 2020 Toyota Supra, the Toyota Supra GR, or Toyota GR Supra.
Toyota GR Supra, yeah, that's it.
Leave in the comments below what you think this should be called. And also, GRMN, what is that? How do you pronounce that? I do not know. Anyway, thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. How do you finish this?